The Wonder Boy will meet the iconic NASCAR Hall in downtown Charlotte this upcoming Friday night, as Jeff Gordon will officially get inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame as part of the class of 2019. He will earn this legendary honor alongside fellow drivers Davey, Allison, and Kulwicki, and team owners Roger Penske and Jack Roush. But with his induction, I decided it would be a special time to make the case for Jeff Gordon as NASCAR's secret greatest of all time. Now, no, this isn't an argument for him being the single greatest driver, but instead for having the single biggest positive impact within the NASCAR Cup Series. Through his quarter century of involvement in NASCAR, there is a lot to go over, so let's get started. Jeff Gordon's first NASCAR Cup Series race took place during the infamous 1992 Roush 500, a race that featured one of the greatest championship battles in series history, as well as the retirement of seven-time NASCAR Cup Series champion Richard Petty. While he finished the day a disappointing 31st, the driver out of Vallejo, California was just getting started developing his talents. The future was as bright as the rainbow colors on his race car, and he was hyped up to be the next big superstar for the NASCAR Cup Series. Let's see where time takes him. 3 years later, Jeff Gordon would indeed step up to the plate and challenge seven-time NASCAR Cup Series champion Dale Earnhardt at the top of the leaderboard. The rise of the young Jeff Gordon not only sparked a rivalry with Dale Sr., but it helped NASCAR rapidly grow in popularity during the late 1990s. After all, the two figures were essentially polar opposites, as you had the experienced Intimidator in black going head-to-head with the bright and colorful Rainbow Warrior nearly every single weekend. Not to mention that Jeff Gordon was nearly half the age of Dale Earnhardt when he bursted onto the scene, which ignited the old versus young rivalry for the series. Jeff Gordon mixing it up on the track with Dale Earnhardt on a weekly basis and showcasing his driving ability against the seven-time champion, it certainly made him a great character that emerged on the NASCAR circuit, and it was certainly a great time to be a fan of the sport in general during the 1990s timeframe. As a Jeff Gordon fan, it's a shame I didn't live in and cherish this wonderful era of NASCAR racing, as the sport was booming in popularity, and hands down this was Jeff's best stretch as a driver in his career. Ultimately, the Intimidator did not intimidate the Rainbow Warrior, as Jeff Gordon went on to win 7 races and the 1995 NASCAR Cup Series championship, the first of 4 titles he would win during his 23-year career. Over the next few seasons, Dale Sr. and Jeff Gordon continued their friendly rivalry over the next half-decade. In 258 head-to-head starts, Jeff Gordon netted 52 wins compared to the Intimidator's 23. So in the end, not only did Dale Sr. turn Jeff Gordon into a household name, but he also morphed Jeff Gordon into the driver he eventually became during his later years. Dale Sr. was a great mentor and friend to Jeff despite the heated rivalry on the racetrack, and the seven-time champion's life lessons and racing advice certainly made an impact throughout the rest of Jeff's career. Over the next 2 decades in his full-time NASCAR career, Jeff Gordon brought the Neon 24 tons of success and earned some record-breaking accomplishments along the way. His 93 career NASCAR Cup Series wins ranks 3rd on NASCAR's all-time wins list, only trailing fellow Hall of Famers Richard Petty and David Pearson. The Wonder Boy has taken the 24 to victory lane 3 times in the Great American Race and has claimed Daytona 500 championships in 1997, 1999, and 2005. He currently owns the longest active streak with at least 1 pole position per season and is dubbed NASCAR's Iron Man after making 797 consecutive NASCAR Cup Series starts in a row. Not to mention, Jeff Gordon was the inaugural winner of the Brickyard 400, a race where he would then win 5 times, and he also won the inaugural Kansas race in 2001. In addition to his NASCAR resume on the track, the kid from California has netted some accomplishments in other motorsports divisions as well. While I don't particularly have interest in these leagues, you cannot deny the respect and prestige of winning the 2017 Rolex 24 in Daytona alongside successful sports car racers Ricky Taylor, Jordan Taylor, and Max Angelelli. He was also an incredible dirt racer during his rise to the NASCAR circuit as he won 2 USAC-sanctioned championships in 1990 and 1991. One way to showcase your racing talents is to excel in different race cars, and whether it was driving NASCAR stock cars, sports cars, or quarter midgets, Jeff Gordon certainly proved he could drive most anything he got behind the wheel. While he was an iconic figure on the racetrack, Jeff Gordon has certainly impacted the sport of NASCAR off the racetrack, as his roles in and around the sport have added to his career resume. Starting out with his tenure at HMS, Jeff Gordon played a huge role within the organization entering the 2002 NASCAR Cup Series season, as Rick Hendrick was eyeing expansion to his successful operation, and he offered the request of Jeff Gordon for who should pilot that new ride. After watching and racing against him in a NASCAR Grand National Series race, Jeff Gordon chose Jimmy Johnson to pilot the team's number 48 entry, and both Gordon and Mr. Hendrick would co-own the brand new operation. To put it in simple terms, Jimmy Johnson created a dynasty during the 21st century and earned 7 NASCAR Cup Series championships and 80-plus wins during his so far 16-year career. So technically speaking, Jeff Gordon was able to win 7 NASCAR Cup Series championships as the listed car owner, in addition to his 4 drivers' titles. Jeff Gordon has either been the driver or car owner of 11 of the 12 championships that Hendrick Motorsports has won, and he was a teammate to Terry Labonte when he won the championship in the 5 car during the 1996 season. Jimmy Johnson's story is fairly similar to Tom Brady's in the NFL, as without the confidence from Jeff Gordon, I doubt he would have ever gotten a competitive NASCAR Cup Series ride. Now, he probably would have gotten a ride from a second-tier organization, and they would have given him a shot, but more than likely, his statistics would have been far from the elite numbers he has put together behind the wheel of the 48. And without a doubt, Jeff Gordon gave Jimmy Johnson his big break in his NASCAR career. And before you know it, he will join Jeff Gordon in the NASCAR Hall of Fame a few years down the line. Even today, Jeff Gordon is still active in and around the NASCAR garage as he works in an executive role at Hendrick Motorsports. As time progresses, more than likely we could see Jeff's role expand to the majority owner, as Rick Hendrick right now is nearly 70 years old. Now, while he doesn't seem ready to retire just yet, his time as the organization's leader is dwindling. Over the past few months, Mr. H has indeed hinted that Jeff Gordon will become the majority owner of the team in the near future, and Jeff himself even called it an honor if he were promoted to the job. So it sounds like Jeff Gordon will more than likely take over the reins at Hendrick Motorsports, and he could lead Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, and William Byron to future success over the next few decades. Finally, we reach his role at Fox Sports, as in the 3 seasons as a NASCAR commentator alongside Mike Joy and Darrell Waltrip, he has brought a modern outlook from the NASCAR garage and from the driver's seat into that broadcasting booth. Now, don't get me wrong, Darrell Waltrip has been a great commentator over the past 2 decades, and he would rank among the best in NASCAR's history. The reason why Jeff Gordon today is a better commentator than DW, however, is because he is active within the NASCAR Cup Series garage. He has a much better understanding of the Gen 6 cars. After all, he is just a few seasons removed from being behind the wheel, and he also knows the technology really well that has been added over the past few seasons, such as the new digital dashboard. While DW is a very colorful analyst, Jeff Gordon in my mind is the complete package for a driver commentator. Nobody mixes an analysis on the track as well as the unpredictability of a race better than Jeff Gordon. And I think this will keep up for decades to come as long as he keeps his roles at Hendrick Motorsports. So the bottom line, Jeff Gordon has changed the history of NASCAR both on and off the track in a positive way, and he could quite possibly be the greatest of all time in terms of his work inside the sport. Without Jeff Gordon both behind the wheel and active within the sport, Hendrick Motorsports would more than likely be a mid-tier race team. Jimmy Johnson wouldn't have as successful of a NASCAR career, and I believe the sport as a whole would be less popular than it is today. Despite getting inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame, Jeff Gordon's impact on the sport is far from over. In fact, I would say his journey in NASCAR is just beginning. Over the next 2 decades, I see Jeff Gordon continuing his great work in the broadcast booth and ultimately taking over Hendrick Motorsports by the 2025 season. And as for the long-term future, who knows? With his experience and knowledge behind the wheel and in the garage, it would not surprise me if he becomes the CEO or competition director of NASCAR as a whole at some point within his lifetime. The future is as bright as Exalta paint, and congratulations to Jeff Gordon on your NASCAR Hall of Fame induction. And if somehow you're watching this video, I want to thank you for giving me a great fan experience at the 2014 Bristol Night Race, as it was an honor taking a picture with you and getting an autograph to cherish for decades to come. You have certainly been a great role model to look up to, and I hope that you continue your great work in NASCAR and further developing the sport for years to come. So anyways, this is NRF signing out, and just remember, life's a beach and then you drive.